we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And the Brain.
Hey, the Brain got a poop.
We're here. Glad you are as well. Brain, do you have the Will Wade drop over there? Let's try that again real quick. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Our good bud is going to be with us in 30 minutes. A little breaking news from LSU basketball. If you missed it earlier today, we already found out that today is the deadline for underclassmen to announce their intention, if they will stay in the NBA draft or if they will return to school. Today's the deadline. So found out earlier today that Darius Days has made his announcement that he is returning to LSU, as we all have expected all along that he would. And I think, obviously, finding out last week that he was not invited to the Combine really solidified that. And now, just within the last half hour or so, Javonte Smart has made the same announcement. Via Twitter, he put year 3 and then some emoji. Brain, do you know what emoji that is that he's got on there? It's like a little purple guy with arms up in the air, maybe like a little robot or something. Any idea?
It looks like a robot.
Okay, a little purple robot, Javonte Smart. This is how news breaks now. You put purple robot emojis in year 3 on Twitter. So we now know that Javonte Smart and Darius Days are returning to LSU. The only player we're waiting on now is Trendon Watford. But if you do the numbers, there aren't any spots left. So with Charles Manning coming back and Andre Hyatt on the roster, and now with Smart and Days, or Smays, and then the signees in this year's class and the transfers, you're at 13. That's your scholarship limit is 13. So Trendon Watford's still out there, but if Watford were to surprise us all and announce he's coming back to school, then someone currently on the roster would have to lose a spot. So we'll wait on that, but Will Wade will join us in 28 minutes from right now. Sean Fazende in about 12 minutes, Fox 8 New Orleans. We'll talk some Saints with Sean as Drew Brees met with the media over the weekend. Mike Thomas met with the media. Sean Payton is miffed. He's irked about how the schedule's all playing out. But Saints have already started cutting players. You had to be down to 80 from 90 to start camp, and that deadline's not for another week or so. But the Saints are already there. They've already cut down to 80. So off we go. I feel like a kid in a candy store. Like, that's a very overused analogy to where people sometimes, it's just kind of like muted the actual like visibility of it. But like as a fat kid or a 38-year-old man that still loves candy, I mean, imagine like walking into a candy store and be like, oh my God, gummy bears. Oh, but look, there's the Twix and the Reese's over there. And they got oh my God, they got a little Milky Way bites and brownies and cupcakes. And look, there's an ice cream, do it yourself in the back. It's like, you go bonkers. That's how I feel today. You got NBA decisions for the LSU underclassmen. You got 2 LSU football players enter the transfer portal. You got Zion getting ready to get on the court, hopefully, at 5:30 Central today. We got LSU football going through football school. Paul Maneri talked about the baseball team earlier today. We've got a ton to get to today. So we'll get to all of it here over the next 3 hours. Let me give you a few thoughts on Jamal Pettigrew. So we learned this over the weekend that Jamal Pettigrew, rising senior tight end from LSU, has entered the transfer portal. This should not come as a really big surprise. We talk about it often that if you are at a place like LSU for 3 years and you haven't really made a dent, chances are you're going to wrap up your career elsewhere. It's not to say that you don't see a Garrett Brumfield every now and again who waits his turn and doesn't really get on the field till his senior year, but when he does, he has a chance to ball out. That's just the exception, not the rule. Miles Brennan is the exception, not the rule. Typically, guys don't sit around for 3, 4, 5 years waiting their turn to play. So you look at Jamal Pettigrew, and this is a guy who, man, was a 4-star coming out of St. Aug, 6'7", 254, and I really wish Pettigrew had been able to stay healthy in 2018. 2018 really was Jamal Pettigrew's opportunity. Steve Ensminger had just become LSU's offensive coordinator, so Pettigrew is a tight end, had his tight ends coach now as the OC. Thad Moss was eligible in 2018, if you remember, but Moss kind of never really got healthy that year, that first year that he was eligible. And it was this big, giant question about whether or not he was really trying to get out there and play or if he was slow playing things or whatever it may be. So 2018 really was Pettigrew's opportunity, but he tore his ACL. And so he missed the season. And then we know what happened last year when both were healthy. It was Moss who emerged and had the best receiving season for a tight end in the history of LSU football. So Pettigrew, while he played in all 15 games, only made one catch for -1 yard and kind of got knocked down a rung as well. The other part of this, too, is Pettigrew is in some respects, I hate to use the word throwback, but he's a more complete tight end, kind of like Moss in the fact that he can go catch the ball, but at 6'7", 254, you can also put him with his hand in the dirt on the end of the line, and he can block for you. But it's pretty obvious where LSU is going with that position. And so, look, Pettigrew could have had a big 18. He got hurt. That sucks. It's just bad luck. Last year, Moss has the big season. Pettigrew plays, but doesn't really have a chance to make a big impact. So you would think, all right, now, senior year, you're healthy. It's your opportunity. And in comes the highest-rated tight end in the history of 24/7 sports in Arik Gilbert. The Gatorade National High School Male Athlete of the Year, the number 5 overall prospect in the country in the 247 composite at any position. Here comes Gilbert, and Pettigrew is knocked down a rung again. So you kind of feel for the guy in that respect, but it's also why you typically don't see a lot of guys wait, right? So I do think, though, one thing that this indicates is that the hype for Gilbert is very much real. The fact that you're 2 weeks into football school, right, doing just team, like walk-through team activities, and clearly Gilbert is getting those reps. I mean, we've heard Ed Ogeron talk about him and how they expect Gilbert to be used like Linehan used Megatron in Detroit. But ultimately, if you're on the field and you're running reps, and it's one thing for coaches to say, we really like this guy and we think he's going to make a big impact. It's another when you actually get on the field and the freshman's out there running with the ones. And as a result, the rising senior tight end, 2 weeks into football school, decides he's entering the transfer portal. I mean, remember, typically you see these types of transfers in that first couple weeks of camp. Do you remember in 2018 when the LSU started fall camp, you had Miles Brennan and Lowell Narcisse and Justin McMillan and Joe Burrow. And then what happened? They got through the first couple of weeks of camp and everyone realized it was Burrow. And so Narcisse and McMillan, within 2 days of each other, transferred. Typically, this type of news comes down then. But because this is kind of an unorthodox offseason where you have this sort of football school on-field work already happening, I mean, a lot of those dominoes are falling already. And you see the writing on the wall. And that's that Arik Gilbert's the high school national player of the year. And he's a freak show. And he's going to be an integral part of what LSU does offensively. And for Jamal Pettigrew, he's just the odd man out. So, you know what I hope for Pettigrew? I really hope that he has a massive, massive senior season wherever he goes, similar to what happened with Jazz Ferguson. Jazz came to LSU and was just in a logjam at receiver with a bunch of guys that were going to play in the NFL. And he decided for his senior year or his junior year that he would transfer, and he ultimately goes and he sits out and he goes and plays a year at Northwestern State in 2018, and he has 66 catches for 1,117 yards and 13 touchdowns. Guy finally got his chance to go ball out, and he was awesome. And he went undrafted, but then signed as an undrafted free agent with the Seahawks. He got his opportunity to get on the field and play. I hope the same thing for Pettigrew. I hope he finds a spot where he can get on the field, be a big impact guy in his senior year, and get a look at the next level. So it's hopefully going to be a win-win for everybody. Pettigrew will get his opportunity to go play somewhere and to play really well and get on the field and be an every-down guy. And Arik Gilbert will emerge in this offense that seems like it's pretty much tailor-made for him and for his skill set. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us here on a Monday edition, brought to you by Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. A ton we will get to. Let's talk some Saints. Sean Fazende, Fox 8 in New Orleans. He's going to jump aboard with us next. Saints have already cut 10 players in advance of training camp, so their 90 is already down to 80. So we'll get into that with Sean and Will Wade 20 minutes from right now. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
It's a little after 3, so if you're already thinking about dinner plans, make tonight an Ichiban night. Baton Rouge is best in sushi with the most creative specialty rolls, the freshest fish. I love it. If you tweet me a picture, use the hashtag Moscona roll, tag Ichiban in it. You know I'd love to give you a shout-out on the air. No matter what your favorite specialty roll is, no one has a better selection than Ichiban. And if you're a super-duper weirdo and you don't love sushi, that's okay. I was that guy as well. I just didn't know I liked it, actually, until I found Ichiban, and really, now you kind of crave it. But if you're a super-duper weirdo and you don't like sushi, no worries. Ichiban's got tons of options. They've got award-winning hibachi, and you can pick your protein. If it's steak, you want filet, you can do that. You want chicken or shrimp, they can do all that for you. They have a 24-ounce bone-in ribeye. They've got pan-seared duck. They got amazing options. It's at Ichiban, but they are voted by you the best sushi and the best of 225 awards. So make tonight an Ichiban night.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Here at Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
How important for you is it to get back to the Super Bowl?
That's why I came back.
Not mincing any words there. But, man, this is massive news. We're going to get to Sean Fazende in just a quick second. Fox 8 in New Orleans. We'll talk some Saints. Billy Embody just tweeted a bit ago that this is breaking news. LSU forward Trendon Watford will return to LSU for his sophomore year. Former five-star, was the number one player in the state of Alabama. So that means Watford, Days, and Smart, 3 for 3 today, all will return to LSU. Massive for Will Wade, who, by the way, will be with us in 14 minutes from right now. So we'll delve deeper into that. Glad to welcome Sean Fazende with us, Fox 8 in New Orleans, longtime friend of the show as the Saints gearing up for training camp. Sean, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic, man. Let's start with, I guess, sort of chronologically, and let's go back to the weekend. And you heard Drew Brees there say it's the reason he came back was to win a Super Bowl. You've covered Brees his time there in New Orleans. So what struck you about listening to Brees here in advance of this preseason camp?
Well, I think overall, first off, he met with the controversy head on, opening up with the conference call with a statement about what happened, explained his position, explained what he was going to do going forward. And then obviously as the conference call went through, he kind of delved into a lot of different topics. A, just how much he thought about the decision to return for his 15th season in New Orleans, and B, the fact that, quite frankly, it is a Super Bowl or bust year. And it's been that way for a while now here, for the last couple of seasons. I think we all know that, all understand that. But for a guy that's 41 years old, going into his 20th NFL season, 15 here in New Orleans, I think the tone is there. And you kind of picked up on that, not just from him, but Teron Armstead, Michael Thomas, Sean Payton. There is a no-nonsense vibe right now, given the fact that these are unprecedented circumstances and it's just not regular things to deal with right now, obviously with COVID-19. But, dude, this is a group that's been around a lot, each other a lot. They've won a lot of football games, and it's time. It is time to finish the job.
Sean, what about how Brees spent his offseason in very unorthodox times? What did you make of that?
Well, I thought, when he brought up the deep ball issue, I thought that was a little bit of self-awareness from him because, we've been asking Brees about, deep ball, taking shots, that sort of thing, arm strength for the last few years, and he had never really broke down kind of, the science of him trying to, get stronger when it came to deep passes. He was talking about, being able to throw 60-yard passes. I thought it was a bit of a self-awareness that, hey, I'm 41 years old, and because he's never really come out and said, physically, I can't do what I used to do, but it was sort of a sense of a self-awareness that perhaps that's a part of his game he can still improve on. And he's got players this year that can certainly get deep, talk about Emmanuel Sanders. So I do think it was sort of his way of saying that he had to tweak some things. It was very unorthodox, but through that sort of nothing normal, he was able to discover a few things, and hopefully if the deep ball is a little bit better in 2020, then obviously that's a great thing for the Saints.
Sean Fazende's with us on Twitter at Sean Fazende, Fox 8. Fox 8 New Orleans, been a long-time friend of the show. We also heard from Mike Thomas, who said he could break his record again. It won't take 17 years. He said he could break it again this year. What's your feeling on that and sort of what Mike Thomas does for an encore?
Well, I don't know if he's going to break the record again. I do know he is, without question, one of the most motivated athletes I've ever been around. Just the things that he uses to get himself going. I believe Cam Jordan said he finds the smoke everywhere, even if it's fake smoke from outside critics or detractors. So certainly breaking his own record is motivation enough. But the thing with Mike Thomas is, it's not like he's going out there getting empty stats. I mean, they needed every bit of that last year to have success. So if he's going to try to re-break that record or break that record again, obviously the Saints would Saints would benefit just because if he's putting up those numbers, the Saints are probably going to be successful. So doesn't shock me that he has that mentality, that mindset. And look, I wouldn't doubt him. It's going to be hard, but I wouldn't necessarily doubt him. I think if anyone can do it, it's certainly him.
You know what's interesting, though, Sean, with one more Mike Thomas, is he did that last year, obviously, without a legitimate number two, right? I mean, he was the focus of everybody's defense, and he still put up those numbers. Now that it appears he has help, right, with Emmanuel Sanders, and then they've obviously added talent at tight end, would we expect fewer like, I guess there's two ways to look at it, right? Either he'll get fewer targets because there's other weapons, or it's going to take all the attention away from Thomas and open him up more. Like, how do you see that going this year?
Well, I think it flows game to game. I really do, because there's only so many things you can take away if you're a defense with double coverage. And he got a ton of that last year and still put up those numbers, like you said. I think a lot of that had to do with his route running ability and his productivity, but also just the genius creativity of Sean Payton, just putting him in different spots at different times, in different places, different formations all over the field last year to get that to be that much of the center of attention of other defenses and still have that kind of production. So it might flow game to game. Some games maybe they try to take him away more, and if they do that, then Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook can hopefully blow up. But if they try to move the coverage elsewhere or be more even, if you will, with their distribution of coverages, then perhaps he benefits more. But I do think adding Emmanuel Sanders adds that explosive element. So I think Michael Thomas in the end is going to get his touches. He's going to get a lot of yards, receptions, and touchdowns, whether or not he breaks the record. But as long as they're winning, obviously it's irrelevant. But I do think he's going to get ample opportunities to at least come close to that record in 2020.
A couple more for you, Sean. Speaking of Sean Payton, look, like Brees, you've covered Payton for a long time. And he seems, just listening to him, right, miffed, upset, frustrated. Like, there's a lot of different adjectives we can use here. What's your read on what Sean Payton is saying about this offseason right now?
Nothing is normal. It wasn't him that came up with the idea. It's not training camp. I think he said that 4 different times in the conference call. Look, when he's upset, he lets you know. And he wanted to make sure he got those points across, that this was not the same schedule. This is the NFLPA and Management Council. I think, obviously, the tone was, this is not a normal set of circumstances. But I also kind of felt like he was really setting the tone with his players that, there is no nonsense here. It is time to work. There's too many, outside influences. There's too many irregularities here for me to deal with anything else. It's time to get better as a team. It's time to get better as football players or as a football team. And, he challenges guys to be in shape. He said there's going to be a lot of running, a lot of lifting. Every bit of the padded practices will be used, which is something that I don't think has been done in years past, at least in the last few years that I've covered the training camp. So he sounded like a guy that's ready to get going, despite the new normal, if you will, COVID-19.
What's the schedule going to be like for this team, Sean, over the next month or so?
Yeah, well, right now they've shifted into the conditioning phase. They did all the testing, which, according to Jeff Duncan, they are all negative, all 8 players. So they'll do this sort of conditioning, running, lifting, walkthrough, meeting until the 12th. And then the 12th, they can do sort of an OTA-style practice, no pads. And then August 17th, the pads come on. And then once the pads come on, you can do the math there. September 13th will be their first game. August 17th, that's less than 4 weeks, less than a month. From when they first put the pads on to when they actually play a meaningful regular season game. That's not a whole lot of time. So it sounds like to me, when those pads come on, Sean Payton's going to crank up the intensity even more.
All right, last thing for you, and this may take a second, but let's go through the cuts. They didn't waste any time. First of all, any reaction to that? The fact that they had time to cut down to 80, but just are already there?
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought they would have taken a little bit more time to at least get these guys in to see what they can do, but apparently they just want to get to the 80 that they can work with and not waste anybody's time. You saw Tommy Lee Lewis, Adrian McGee, obviously the LSU offensive lineman, a couple of names that were cut, Ricky Ortiz, Dietrich Nichols, the DB. So, look, they had to get down to 80. They had a couple more weeks to do so. They decided to do it now. Again, kind of goes with the let's get to it. So let's not waste anybody's time here. Let's get to it. The guys that we're going to have let's get to our 80 and get moving once we get on the field. And obviously today is some form of getting on the field in terms of conditioning, running, lifting, and whatever they do with this quote-unquote walkthrough session. So, but yeah, they're already down to 80. They're not wasting any time.
You mentioned some familiar names, obviously. Were any of those cuts a surprise to you?
I thought Nichols might have had a chance. Theatric Nichols, the XFLer, could have played outside, could have played inside, especially when you consider I still think the biggest vulnerability depth-wise on this team is that outside cornerback, and if he could have helped there, I thought that there was perhaps an opportunity for him to maybe crack the roster that way. Tommy Lee Lewis was a guy, considering the fact that he was part of one of the most infamous play calls or no calls in NFL history. His coming back kind of flew under the radar a little bit. It really wasn't talked about much when he re-signed with the team this offseason, but they didn't waste his time either. They moved on from him. Look, Adrian McGee was a guy I think was going to be a long shot, was probably going to end up being a practice squad guy at best, depending on how he performed in camp, but obviously that's a name we all know. So when a notable name gets cut, obviously it's newsworthy. But for the most part, I think most of those guys on that list were long shots to make the roster.
He's on Twitter at Sean Fazende of Fox 8. Y'all give him a follow. Saints moving toward camp. At least they're on the field doing football-like things. It's coming around. Sean, we appreciate the time as always, man. Thanks.
All right, bud. Thanks.
All right, man. We'll check in soon. Sean called me Bud. Speaking of buds, our bud, Will Wade, is going to join us next. Both Javonte Smart and Trenton Watford have joined Darius Days. All three players today announcing they are returning to LSU for their upcoming season. For Smart and Days, their junior years. For Watford, his sophomore season. And boy, that roster looks loaded. We're going to talk to what should be a very happy Will Wade coming up next.
AFR.
All right, we are 2 hours from tip. Pels, Grizzlies from the bubble. You need a place to watch? Pluckers. Nicholson just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall, Louisiana. Maybe you're an MLB fan, but you don't have MLB TV. Your favorite team's out of market and you can't watch the games. No worries. Pluckers. Nicholson just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Maybe you're an Astros fan, but because MLB's blackout policy is so freaking stupid that you can't get the Astros around here. No worries. Pluckers got it for you. Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out. You want to watch your favorite sporting events now that sports are finally back? What is more Americana than sitting at a sports bar, drinking a beer, and eating chicken wings off the bone? Nothing. Unless if you were wrapped in an American flag with your face painted red, white, and blue. And you can do that at Pluckers. Even the face paint. But bring your own face paint. Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Pluckers, you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, LSU basketball got some good news. Today is the deadline for underclassmen to make their determination if they're going to stay in the NBA draft or return to school. And LSU went 3 for 3. Darius Days, Javonte Smart, Trendon Watford all announcing they're returning to LSU. So Will Wade's roster for year 4 now looks complete. And the coach is good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Will, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. That was a pretty good commercial from Coach Bertman. I hadn't heard that before for dependable storage there.
He's got lots of stuff.
He's got lots of stuff. Yeah.
You'll stick around maybe another 15, 20 years, and you'll have lots of stuff as well as the family grows, and we'll get you hooked up with a storage unit if you need it.
I appreciate that, Matt.
Or we'll get Coach Bertman to do it for you too. Either way.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey, man, you had a good day, right? I mean, 3 for 3. I'm assuming the guys let you know that they were coming back before they all made it public. So what were those conversations like with each of the guys to let you know that they were returning?
Well, I think it's been it's been a difficult process for the guys with the COVID, and it's been something that's been quite a bit different than what we've been through when the process has happened the last couple seasons, and just not only how long it was, but how different it was with the interviews and with the way the NBA teams were going about things. So it was one of those things where a lot of the times the feedback with the players was almost immediate because, all that was really occurring were the interviews with the NBA teams, and sometimes we set those up, and so, the NBA teams would call us back with feedback, and we would get that to the players. And so it was really an interactive process where everybody was talking, and there was open lines of communication to make sure that we were getting the best information and from the teams, and we were passing that along to the players.
Do you feel like these conversations, or maybe even the results, would have been different if this were a normal year where they
100%. 100%. I think 100%. If this was a normal year, I don't think we'd have 3 guys back right now. I don't want to speculate on.
Sure.
But I think if this was a normal year and some of these guys were getting in front of these teams and workouts and the interview process was different and not through Zoom, I don't think we'd be sitting here today with the same roster that we have today. I don't think there's no question in my mind about that. It's not like this isn't one of those days where it's like we recruited all these guys back and that sort of thing. It was more out of, this was what the best situation was for each individual who came back. And I think the situation would have been very, very different had it not been, had the COVID not been going on, and had there been more of a normal process. I think we'd have had maybe one or two of these guys that aren't back with us, which would have been great as well. But I think I think the process and the COVID certainly led us to where we are today.
You look at your roster for the 2021 season, and I mean, you look loaded. I mean, is it safe to say this is your best roster?
We got a good team. We got a really, really good team, and so we're excited, and we've got a good team, and we've got to come together. We've got great individual talent. We've got to bring the team together. We've got to develop some chemistry, develop some leadership, and keep things moving. But I think we definitely have a very, very good team. We're going to have a cohesive team. We're going to have a cohesive coaching staff. I feel very, very excited about the season, and I do think top to bottom, this is probably the best roster we've had since we've been here. And now it's now the pressure's on me to make sure that we make sure that we use the roster properly and position our guys properly to have success in college and to position themselves to have success, this time next year when the NBA draft comes up.
And a couple more for you. Will Wade is our guest. A big day for LSU as Watford, Days, Smart all announced they're coming back, and the roster for the 2020-2021 season appears set. I don't know if you got a commitment from a Washington transfer. I don't know if he's signed yet, so you can.
He's signed.
Okay,
he's
signed. Okay, so Brian Penn Johnson is signed. What's the process of going about?
Josh Gray signed too. He's here too. They're both here. Josh has been working out 2 weeks.
Okay, fantastic.
So we got 2 7-footers, so that's good.
So you like having a little size.
It's nice to have size.
I believe so. What's the process like going through the waiver process for Brian Penn Johnson?
Well, we feel very, very confident with the waiver with Brian. There's some circumstances that surrounding him leaving Washington that make us feel extremely, extremely, extremely confident that he'll be granted a waiver and he'll be able to play for us. He'll be able to play for us immediately. So we're very excited about that, and we feel very good about that. We're already a ways down the waiver process with him, and we feel good that we'll have him available for our first game.
Is there any? Obviously, the NCAA moves at its own pace, but do you have any idea of a timeline for when something like that might be resolved?
Yeah, well, his is a little bit different. His is a little bit more of there's not, the NCAA kind of takes some time if you've got to interpret a bunch of facts and that sort of thing. But when both parties are in agreement on things, it moves a lot quicker. So I feel, like I said, very, very good about where things are. Washington side's on board, our side's on board, and I feel like we're in a very, very good spot with that. And I feel like we could very well be in a good spot to get a waiver for Sharif O'Neal as well, where he'll be eligible immediately. Josh LeBlanc's a little bit of a different subject. We're certainly going to work on that, but I would rate myself and rate our program as extremely, extremely confident about Brian Penn Johnson. I'd say we're very confident about Sharif, and we'll kind of see what happens with Josh.
Coach, what's the schedule for your team like right now, and let's say for the next 6-8 weeks?
Well, we're just now, we're gonna have 4 of our guys get physicals tonight, which will then start the protocol for getting them back and getting them going. So we'll get physicals tonight. We'll get some EKGs later on this week. Do some more testing. They'll quarantine for the week, and so starting next Monday, we'll be able to get on the court and do some non-contact shooting and non-contact work with them for a couple weeks. So we're still probably 2 to 3 weeks out from being able to really get up and down and practice and play some 5-on-5.
Any talk about I'm sure there's plenty of talk, but to what extent you can fill us and our audience with what the conversation has been like about basketball season, especially with football, as we all know, going conference only?
Yeah, it sounds like, we're going to have we're going to have some form of a season. So we're going to have, we had a conference call, coaches call last week, and I feel like, I think worst case, maybe we'll start after Thanksgiving. When all the students leave campus, we'd be able to certainly create a bubble and start. So, you never know for sure, because we got to kind of see what happens with the virus, see where things go. But I feel comfortable we'll have some form of a season, whether that's only conference only games where it's, Power 5 plays other Power 5 teams only. I'm not sure how it's going to look. We may have to go to a bubble and play some non-conference games, maybe in Houston or Dallas. I'm not sure how it's going to look, but I know they're exploring a lot of different scenarios.
Would you have to, last thing I promise, would you have to redo your non-conference schedule if it played out that way? Like, would you have to get on the phone and start calling other coaches?
I'm not sure what we'd have to do. We haven't gotten that far yet. We lost Yale when the Ivy League canceled their games, and we're in the process of replacing them with another really, really formidable opponent. So the way I've set it up is we got a schedule like we're told to schedule. Right now, we're starting our season playing Louisiana Monroe on November 10th, and we're gonna prepare to play Louisiana Monroe on November 10th. And if they tell us differently, then we'll back it up and figure out what we're doing from there.
Well, whenever you play, you'll have Smart Days and Watford on the floor, and that's got to be a big boost, having those three veteran guys back. Great day for the program, no doubt. We always appreciate a couple of minutes. Will, thanks.
Thanks, bud.
All right. He's the... no.
And he's out.
That's his most emphatic bud yet. And he's just sitting on it. Like, he knows the whole interview he's sitting on it. Like, he's just waiting the whole time. Like, he knows he's got to drop it. And I'm always curious, like, if he's not, when he comes up, he's not going to do it. I'm always like, is he not going to? Does he think it's played out? I don't know. I feel like I should reset it because there's probably people who have no idea what that's about. So, all right, very quickly, several years ago, I don't even remember when, Will was on the show. It was when?
It was during my first tenure here.
Well, that was several years ago, right? I mean, whenever that was. It's been several years.
Just before we moved upstairs, I think.
It's been several years.
There you go.
Several years ago. Thank you, Brady. Several years ago, Will Wade was on the show. I wrapped up the interview by saying, Coach, always appreciate it. Thanks so much for the time, bud. It's how I said it. Or I said, thanks for the time. He said, all right, thanks. All right. And I just casually said, all right, bud. And I know Will. It's no big deal to say bud. I mean, a lot of people say, but Sean Fazende called me bud on the interview earlier. A lot of people say that. It's just a casual greeting. Anyway, well, there were some people that were just absolutely, they found it abhorrent that I would call the head basketball coach at LSU bud. And so anyway, this became a thing. And the next time Will came on, obviously he knew of that. And so he ended the interview by, it's the drop we played. Do you have it? He said this.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
So he called me bud. And every time since that he's been on the show, he wraps up by calling me bud. Essentially jabbing a finger in the eye of all of you who thought that was ridiculous. But I appreciate his sense of humor. But the one today was a really emphatic bud. Really emphatic.
Yeah, it might have to replace the drop. Because,
It replaces the original?
Yeah. I don't know. It's good, though.
Maybe we leave it to a vote. Maybe we just rotate them. It's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll just flip. We'll come back and do around the SEC next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. You're familiar with the Mayo Clinic, right? One of the foremost medical centers in the world. Well, the Mayo Clinic has extended their care network to where your doctor in your local market can have access to the world-renowned physicians and their research at the Mayo Clinic. How about that? And it's at no extra cost to you. So all you have to do, actually, you don't have to do anything. Your physician at the Baton Rouge General can contact any of the specialists at the Mayo Clinic or have access to their research to give you even better care. brgeneral.org. brgeneral.org to learn more. Baton Rouge General has just done amazing work. And you've seen so much of their impact in our community amid the COVID crisis, and they continue to lead the way. Learn more at brgeneral.org. Baton Rouge General Hospital, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At AllStar Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at AllStar Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at AllStar Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Thanks again to our good bud, Will Wade, for joining the show. Said Brian Penn Johnson is signed. They are expecting the waiver to be granted. Washington is cooperating. That's fantastic news. So they're confident that Sharif O'Neal's waiver will be granted. So they still have some work to do with Josh LeBlanc, of course, who's transferring in from Georgetown. So that, and Will Wade, of course, got great news today with the three Tigers who had entered the draft outside of Emmett, of course, who told us about last month that he was staying in the draft. But Smart, Watford, Days all announced today they're returning to LSU. So fantastic news for the Tigers. All right, so after further review, we normally do this in the last segment, but Will Wade was available at 3:30, so we took him then. So let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Isaiah Joe has withdrawn from the NBA draft. He will return to Arkansas. Joe was considered a borderline draft pick, ranking number 60 in the ESPN's NBA draft rankings. Joe's a 6'5" shooting guard. averaged 16-4 last year. Arkansas has already lost Mason Jones to the draft earlier this offseason.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
John Petty has withdrawn his name from the NBA draft. He'll return to Bama for his senior season. He was second-team All-SEC, averaged 14.5 points a game last season, also led the Tide in rebounding, and was second in the league in made three-pointers and three-point percentage. He joins Herb Jones, who entered the draft and is now returning, although Kyra Lewis is staying in the draft and is expected to be a first-round pick.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Robert Woodard will not return to Mississippi State. He'll remain in the NBA draft, forego his final 2 seasons in Starkville. Started 32 games over the past 2 years, including all 31 this past season. Averaged 8-5 over his 2 years there in Stark Vegas. Woodard slotted as the 25th best player in the draft by ESPN, one of 2 Mississippi State players entering the draft early, joining would-be junior Reggie Perry.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Jerry Stackhouse, a bit of a heater in the recruiting trail. Stackhouse landed a commit from 4-star Gabe Dorsey, a 6'6 wing from Pennsylvania, the number 109 player in the country for 2021. Chose Vandy over Harvard, Miami, Penn State, Providence, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Xavier, and others.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn added 3-star defensive end Tobichi Okoli Saturday, and then hours later got another commit from 4-star defensive tackle Marquise Robinson, 6'3", 300-pounder out of Florida, the number 18 defensive tackle in the country, number 318 overall. So Auburn now at 12 commits for the class of 2021.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
And the Aggies got a commit as well. The top player in the state of Oklahoma, 4-star safety Kendall Daniels, pledged to the Aggies, 6'4", 190, the number 139 overall prospect in the country. A&M with 13 commits now for 2021. Daniels becomes the 4th defensive back to commit to Jimbo's squad. There you have it. There's Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. They're online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Offices all over. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, Lafayette, Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, to add further review, glad you're hanging out with us here. Saw today, by the way, 7 minutes from right now, Malik Antoine's going to join us. Malik Antoine, if you're not familiar, prepped at U High in Baton Rouge and is entering his 5th year at Stanford. He's a defensive back, was a U High Cub, he's played 4 years at Stanford, redshirted his freshman year 2016, and is now a 5th-year senior. He is one of the players that has been on every one of those conference calls among Pac-12 players who have released their letter and their requests, or I guess their conditions, to play this season. Story you probably saw over the weekend where I guess it's a list of demands, but that feels like too harsh of a verbiage. It's more requests. Or maybe they're demands. We're going to ask Malik Antoine. I want to talk about this process of how it started, what they're hoping to accomplish, how many players they realistically think might stick with this whole, the potential to opt out. So we'll talk to one of the Pac-12 players who's from Baton Rouge, who's been in the center of this movement since it started. So we'll get a lot of that information from Malik Antoine coming up in the as we start hour 2. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Let me remind you about GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Our friends over at GMFS Mortgage. Home buy, refi, construction loans. GMFS Mortgage does it all, and they say it. We want to be your lender for life, and they mean it. If you're buying that first home, if you're upsizing as your family grows, if you're downsizing as you become an empty nester, or maybe right now, amid unprecedented times financially in our country, interest rates have been lower to historic levels, so why not take advantage and refinance your mortgage and lower your monthly mortgage payment? GMFS Mortgage can help. GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. The Rock is buying the XFL. Saw this? He is part of a group that spent $15 million for the XFL. Vince McMahon pumped $200 million into this thing to get it back off the ground. but it's been shuttered largely thanks to COVID. Curious what The Rock's going to do. It also says he's got an investment group. I wonder if like Dusty Rhodes is in his investment group.
No, I looked it up. No Dusty Rhodes.
No Dusty Rhodes?
No Dusty Rhodes. No Hulk Hogan.
No.
No. Randy Macho Man Savage was almost in, but he demanded Slim Jims at all the concession stands. So
well, the Macho Man's dead.
Probably should have added that to what I needed to look up about this bit.
What else you got?
Do what?
You didn't know Macho Man died?
No.
Oh, man. Pretty much if you're going to talk about a wrestler from the 80s, you should really look it up because most of them, honestly, you know Ultimate Warrior died too? Yeah, it's sad. All right, hour 2 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. Sometimes you just feel like taking a drive. Honestly, that's how I spend a lot of my downtime on the weekends because, especially with COVID, we're not really taking Drew into stores and things like that, so we ride around a lot. I put my son into my Volkswagen Atlas every day, and I do that with tremendous peace of mind. First of all, it's a gorgeous vehicle. I mean, it's jet black with black leather interior and all the chrome finishes. It looks awesome. But it's also one of the safest vehicles on the road. Volkswagen makes the safest vehicles on the road. So every time you drive it with your family, you have that peace of mind. Stylish, the feel, the performance, the look of luxury, the safety without the cost. South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
1045 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At AllStar Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at AllStar Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at AllStar Toyota today.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Hour 2 of AFR headed your way shortly. Just enough time to squeeze in a quick little Sports Center update. You heard it from Coach Will Wade earlier in the show. Everybody's coming back. Just about everybody. Darius Days, Javonte Smart, Trendon Watford will all be returning to campus. That conversation with Will Wade will be available on demand on our website shortly. The St. Louis Cardinals are the latest team to suffer a coronavirus outbreak and have had a couple of games postponed. Today's included in that. They've had 13 members of the organization test positive for COVID-19 in the last week, including 7 players and 6 staff members. Well, at least one of the Saints' regular season games will be in front of no fans. The Raiders announced today the team will not allow fans to attend games at Allegiant Stadium during their inaugural season in Las Vegas. We are an hour and a half away from the Pelicans tipping off, which means we're 2 hours and 15 minutes away from T-Bob completely melting down. Hour 2 of After Further Review coming your way right now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say it one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And the Brain.
Hey, the Brain got a poop.
We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one, folks. God, what a busy day. It was awesome to have Sports Bag, man. So much meat on the bone. Pels, 90 minutes away from tip down in the bubble. A lot we're going to get to. If you missed Will Wade in the last hour, that'll be on demand, presented by Breck Golf. And, of course, you can always get on by the After Further Review YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the bell. So one of the big stories over the weekend was a group of Pac-12 players that released a letter via the Players Tribune with a show of unity and a letter that had a list of demands. One of those players locally who has an interest there is Malik Antoine, who, of course, went to U-High. He's played the last 4 years at Stanford. He's entering his 5th season, and he is one of these players that's been involved in this show of unity among the Pac-12 football players. So Malik Antoine's good enough to join us here on the show to have a conversation about this, and I appreciate it. Malik, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for making the time for us. Let's see if we can just kind of make our way through this whole conversation. And let's just kind of start at the beginning. When did you first become aware of this movement among Pac-12 players?
Right. I think I first became aware of the movement around 2 weeks or so ago. I haven't publicly sided with the group yet. But I've been having plenty of conversations with my guys who are adamant about it, and also other guys from other teams who are adamant about it. I'm kind of still in the process of trying to find more information about it, and also just trying to completely understand their list of demands that they just sent out.
So, the past couple of weeks ago, you're first made aware. How were you first made aware?
I think it started off by first the group of guys on my team that got connections with a group of guys from Cal University. Just telling them about their basic concerns about the season. I think guys feel a little unsafe about going into the season without any strict protocols around COVID. So I think that's where the conversation started, and it then led to this that we saw, I guess yesterday when they released their statement.
So you're made aware. Some of your teammates connected with some guys over at Cal. Ultimately, it looks like, if I'm reading this correctly, that each school has am I reading that each school has a player representative? Am I basically illustrating that the right way?
Yeah, I think each school is represented. There was conversation that USC, Colorado, and Utah didn't have any representation, but I'm pretty sure that all of the Pac-12 schools have at least 1 or 2 players that are fully committed to the We Are United movement.
So how does it work with the representatives from Stanford and how they're conveying information to all of you?
Yeah, so I guess so right now there's kind of a group message, and also just like weekly calls, just trying to collaborate all the information together. But mostly within our team, I'm kind of, I'm a captain of the team. I'm kind of having like more one-on-one conversations with guys who are like really a part of the group movement and just really trying to push for things because I know their whole thing, which is amazing that they got this much unity across the Pac-12, is trying to get as many players as possible to come along with it. So I just want to be I guess another person who understands it and can vocalize it, because like I said, I haven't publicly said that I'm a part of the movement yet because I'm still trying to come to terms with everything they're saying and seeing if it's actually reasonable.
How many players, do you know how many players are, I guess it's tough to be official, right? But who have declared that they are part of the movement?
Right. I think it's somewhere around like 300 to 400 players who I think actively posted something on social media or are actively like vouching for the movement within their teams. That's kind of the numbers that some of my teammates have given me, but I think that's what it's around.
Malik Antoine's our guest. U-High grad, now at Stanford, team captain, entering his 5th season there as a defensive back. You mentioned that the team has calls, right? You're all relaying information. What are some of those conversations like with you and with your teammates with regard to the We Are United campaign?
I think first it's gaining knowledge. I think a big thing that's holding me back is trying to understand the whole thing. I think first off, they want to relay the information that they want to play this season. But I think guys feel unsafe with the current protocols around COVID testing, the frequency of the test, and just the protocols around quarantining and mask wearing, social distancing, and things like that. So they're kind of just a bunch of topics that are being just spread out in conversations within the calls. But I guess they kind of just touched on things that they just want to see change within our conference. For me, I completely agree with their view on how there needs to be a universal COVID protocol process. I also am in agreement with them on the fact that there should be scholarship and eligibility protection in regards to players choosing to opt out because of COVID, but also players who have seasons that may be halted because of COVID. Also am on agreement with them with the fact that we athletes should be able to use their name, image, and likeness to get some type of compensation from a third party. Where I kind of am on the process of still learning more about is their idea behind the 50-50 revenue compensation split, because I don't know how the financials work within each university to see if that's actually possible. But I had a conversation with my head coach about it, Coach David Shaw, and he's actually going to give me a connection with our athletic director Bernard Muir, who's always open to conversation to help me see those financials, to help me see if that is possible, or just to see where the money is being allocated. So I think where I am and where a lot of other guys are who haven't joined the movement are just trying to understand the exact demands that the guys are asking for.
I think that's super thoughtful, and I think everybody can respect that perspective. One of the things you mentioned there, Malik, that I was curious about, you say you're for scholarship protection for players that opt out. It's my understanding that players do have that scholarship protection. Are you aware if that isn't a universal protection that players are offered?
Yeah, I don't think it's been universally set in stone. I know Coach Shaw communicated that with my team that we have scholarship protection, but I don't know how the policies are across all the universities of the Pac-12. So I think I'm just saying that from the conversations from other schools, but I don't think that's a university policy that all the Pac-12 schools have adopted.
Malik Antoine is our guest here. We're talking about the We Are United campaign that the Pac-12, a group of Pac-12 players, has put together. He's shedding a lot of light on it from a player's perspective as team captain there at Stanford. You know what's interesting, Malik, as you were going through the I don't like calling it demands. Like, do you like that word, like calling it demand? It doesn't really feel. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say that again.
Yeah. I don't really like that, the way calling it demands either. I think it kind of like seems aggressive and kind of like that we're like trying to blackmail the Pac-12. I think they're kind of just concerns that guys just want attended to. I think, and I don't know what word a better way to use that, but I do think the word demands kind of sound like we're trying to like blackmail or hold the Pac-12 hostage by using our leverage.
What about the person that would say, well, that is what you're doing. You're using the leverage of not playing a season to achieve these demands or whatever. What would you say to that person who, because, I mean, that is, I'm sure you've heard, like, that is an opinion that some people have.
Right. I think more than anything, what's super impressive and was super, I guess, just cool about this whole situation is that we are finally able to, like, I guess, get a unified voice out in regards to the whole Pac-12 coming together. I think that what I'm hoping that the biggest thing that comes out of this is some type of structured union where guys can have direct communication with the Pac-12 and like heads, leaders of this whole organization. Because I think guys are kind of frustrated that there is no, like, the players don't have much say when big decisions are being made in regards to situations within the Pac-12 and NCAA as a whole. So I think guys are just finally united together and using the platform to try to create some type of communication with the leaders of the Pac-12 organization and leaders of all the teams in the Pac-12.
Malik Antoine's with us. I want to grab a quick break, Malik. We're going to come back, and there's a couple other things I want to talk about, namely the money and if we think there's going to be a season. We'll pick up there with Malik Antoine when we come back. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, Malik @MalikAntoine3. Very thoughtful conversation. I appreciate it. We'll continue. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. You get to the website, you can see every home listed by Darren and his company, like this one. How about this one? New on the site one day ago. Gingerwood Avenue in Baton Rouge in Five Oaks, listed at $5,099. It's 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, more than 3,000 square feet. Check it out today, right now, at agent225.com. But I tell you all the time, if it's a $500,000 home or a $100,000 home, here's one in Walker on Milton Drive for $125K. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,100 square feet. No matter if your home is a $500,000 home, if it's a $100,000 home, any point in between, Darren has a way of creating an unbelievable customer service experience to reduce the stress of buying or selling a home and to get you results. Think real estate, think Darren James. Agent225.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2640.
Here you go.
All right.
Top speed.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Glad to have Malik Antoine with us. Really thoughtful conversation. U-High entering his 5th year at Stanford now as defensive back team captain, and the We Are United movement, part of that letter released to the Players Tribune, via the Players Tribune, I should say, a group of several hundred Pac-12 players who have publicly endorsed it. And Malik's kind of going through a lot of the thought process of a Pac-12 athlete entering his senior year about what they're all considering right now. Malik, I want to pick up kind of where we left off. And one of the things that struck me is when you were going through the requests, the talking points, you mentioned COVID protocols more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel safe right now as a football player?
Right. I do. And partially because Stanford's doing an amazing job with our protocols. Like, we currently have weekly testing that we will get the results back in less than 24 hours. We kind of have protocols with around quarantine and contact tracing. If a guy on the team does get contacted with the virus, we kind of have a mask protocol, a social distancing protocol, sharing of equipment. Like, Stanford's been doing an amazing job with trying to make this as a smooth process as possible. But I think concerns from a lot of the other players from other schools, when I hear them, is that most schools aren't taking that much diligence and creating a safe environment. I'm hearing stories of guys who only had one testing statement back. Guys that they're not forced to wear masks during workouts. So I think across the whole Pac-12, I think there's not just a universal protocol process that's in place to keep the guys safe. So, like, me personally, I definitely feel safe with the protocols that are in place at my school. But I know with the conversation with other athletes that a lot of players just don't feel quite safe to play a season.
So I think it's super admirable that even though you feel safe, you would advocate for other players that are in different situations. What do you think a universal protocol should look like?
I think personally that it should be weekly testing, obviously, but also within that testing process, a process to contact trace. So if a guy does get tested positive, being able to have a more diligent process to find the guy who he's been in contact with. I think it looks like right now, before we get into the season, it looks like social distancing while you're lifting weights, while you're at runs. It looks like mask wearing where you're not in the drill. It looks like some a thorough cleaning process of equipment and weights and balls and things that are constantly being touched by players. I just more than anything, I just think more schools should spend more time testing the players, but also creating a process behind the quarantine process, creating a better quarantine process when guys do contract the virus.
Let's talk about the money, because I think that's the thing that probably is going to get the most people's attention. And I liked what you said about the with regard to the 50-50 split, where you said you weren't on board, but you weren't opposed because you wanted to learn more. So what do you, let's say, what do you know? But you're like, you know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts as a student athlete who sees these massive numbers, revenue, from TV contracts and ticket sales and coaches' salaries. Now, just what is your general impression of a student athlete about how money is made and spent within college athletics?
I think that there is maybe a false perception that that a lot of these athletic departments are making a lot of money. I think that the amount of money being made isn't as high as we think, and I think that most athletic departments are kind of just fighting above water, because we can see that with us. We just recently cut 11 sports, and 11 sports teams, student athletes won't have a team to play for anymore, So I think that as far as the financial situation within athletic departments, I think a lot of schools are kind of just treading above water and just fighting to maintain. But like you said, I don't know the in-depth view of where the money is going. That's why I hope to talk to Bernard Muir, our athletic director, to see where the money is being allocated and see if the schools can put less in the capital expenditures like locker rooms or stadiums. Can they divvy up the money in a way that we can see some compensation? But I just don't know at this moment how a 50-50 split would be possible when you have programs like us who just cut 11 sports. So I think that right now, I guess my process is just trying to understand more how the financials of these athletic departments work, and see, hey, maybe can we allocate less money to buying locker rooms or gear, and can we maybe it's a 90-10 split, or something on a smaller range, just so that players can get compensated. But I definitely don't know if a 50-50 revenue split is possible.
Yeah, you'd have a major federal issue as well with Title IX, because
I don't know exactly.
I mean, it's 50-50 just isn't feasible. It would be so interesting to see. It's almost like it's like any negotiation. Like if you're selling a house, or if you're going to buy a house, you offer under the ask just to see if they come off that price, right? It's interesting to see where that might go. Name, image, and likeness is something else you mentioned, and people who listen to the show know I am bullish. I don't even think there should be regulation. I think student athletes should be able to make whatever they can on autographs, appearances, ads, influencer marketing. Like, I don't care. Make what you want. Where do you think, just talking to not only players on your program but throughout, where do you think the general feeling is among, and this is obviously generality, but within within college football in particular, where the feeling that student athletes are right now as far as where NIL stands, considering, I mean, there's a lot of progress toward this happening in states like California and Florida, where it's already been signed into law and it's just a ticking clock now.
Right. I think guys are just ready to see it in place. I think that's one policy that's 8 to 10 years late. I think there should have never been restrictions on that, because for a lot of athletes, this is their most marketable time in life. Being a starting safety on the Stanford football team, for a lot of guys, this is the peak of their marketability. And I think that the NCAA kind of took that privilege away to use your name, image, and likeness to maybe make some monetary some cash just to put in your pocket. So I think that's one policy that most athletes feel that needs to come soon. And I think that it's been a slow process in trying to get that policy implemented. But I think that's almost too, not saying too late, but I think that's something that should have been done.
It's too late. I mean, it's way long overdue, and I'm glad that's finally happened. I've talked about that so many times here. My audience is probably sick of hearing me talk about it, but I've talked about that enough. But you're also a team captain. Could you imagine a scenario, Malik, where you would not play football in the fall if Stanford is playing football games?
I couldn't. I think the biggest thing I want to do is play my last season. I think this is my last year to go out there and show what I have and put on tape and just be with these guys one more year. So I don't think there is a scenario where I would opt out. I think if Stanford's strapping it up and going out to play on Saturdays, I'll be a part of that group. I definitely understand guys who are very passionate about opting out if these certain concerns aren't met. But me personally, I definitely see myself strapping it up by any means to get out there and play with my guys.
What percentage of Pac-12 football players do you think, based on the calls you've been on and talking to your teammates, feel the same way you do?
I think all of them want to play this year, but I think I'm hoping more than about 80% just feel that they want to play by any means possible. But I think what the We Are United movement is doing is thought provoking in the sense where like now guys are just thinking about the rights that they don't have, and like the opportunities that may have been missed out on. So I say it's probably around 80% now, but I think that number is probably changing because I think some players, I know on my team, the conversation has took fire, took more wind, and more guys are talking about it. So I could see more players joining the movement and it becoming a bigger thing.
Can the We Are United movement actually achieve what it wants to achieve if a larger number of players are not willing to make that, what would be, for this case, the ultimate sacrifice of skipping a season?
That's what I'm trying to find more information about, because, like you said, a lot of things that they're asking for makes a lot of sense, you know.
I agree.
But I just don't know financially if the 50-50 revenue split is possible. I think that maybe the movement has maybe like a sort of a misconception of how much control the Pac-12 really has. Because at the end of the day, the money allocation within the university that's pretty much up to the provost and the presidents of those universities, you know. And so like I don't know if that's going to be possible to achieve. But like I said, I'm on the process of trying to find out more, trying to learn more, because maybe it is. Maybe the department can maybe cut coaches' salary or take money from building new buildings or distributing gear or something. So maybe the money is there, but if it isn't, I don't see how. I'm interested to see where the movement goes as far as like the Pac-12 response to their demands. Because I was talking to my coach, he was thinking that Pac-12 is probably going to say something really soon. So I'm interested to see what their initial response is to the concerns of the players.
Well, if nothing else, you've gotten everybody's attention to issues that the players feel are very important. And regardless of what the end result is, that at least is a beginning, and that is important. So, hey, man, you've represented Stanford really well. I appreciate a couple of minutes, and we'll stay in touch, man, as this thing moves along. And I wish you the best of luck in your senior year, man. Lots of health and lots of success on the field and in the classroom.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
It's our pleasure. Malik Antoine, y'all follow him on Twitter at Malik Antoine 3. Went to U High, now at Stanford, entering his 5th year. And listen, I want to react to that. I'd like for you to as well. And the reason mostly that I wanted to talk to a player is because it's one thing to read that list of demands on a sheet of paper and to draw conclusions. It's another when you actually hear the thought process from a young person who's actually very thoughtful and impacted by everything that happens there. And I think when you have that approach, it allows you to disarm a little bit. You don't feel like you're going into a fight, like with your hands up, right? You can go have thoughtful dialogue where there are points where you agree and disagree. There's a lot of what Malik said there that I agree with. And there's some things that's written in the We Are United document that I flatly disagree with, things that I don't think that some of the young people who wrote it have considered. But to his credit, how many times did Malik Antoine say, I want to learn more. I want to have these conversations so I can learn more about ... I need to understand how the financials work. Like, they're advocating for themselves. And in anything in life, it's good when you advocate for yourself. I want to react a little more to that. I'd like for you to as well. Let me know your thoughts. You can email Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet me at Matt Moscona at 1045ESPN. You can jump in the huddle or in the YouTube chat. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. Glad you're with us here. Stick around. Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
You know, bad weather comes through. Hail comes through. Tree limbs could fall on your roof. And you could have roof damage. You could. Or maybe not. But there's only two ways to know for sure. You either get up on your roof and inspect it, or you wait until you have water in your house. And one option is way better than the other. And even if you pulled out that ladder and climbed up on your roof and had the balance to walk around the roof, would you even know what you're looking for? I wouldn't. That's why I got to call Premier South Roofing. They'll come to your house. They'll get on your roof. They'll inspect it. For free, by the way. And if you need a roof repair or roof replacement, they can handle everything from that first call through the insurance company all the way to the completion of the work. It's Premier South Roofing.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At AllStar Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at AllStar Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at AllStar Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hey, thanks again to Malik Antoine for spending 30 minutes with us. Got prepped at U-High in Baton Rouge, now out at Stanford entering his 5th year, and just some really thoughtful conversation from a player's perspective about what that We Are United campaign is trying to achieve and how far they have to go. I read a comment in the YouTube chat. Cajun Marine said, I'm 60% in on what he said. You just got to make sense of why coaches' salaries need to be cut. And he's right. That's part of it. The 50% revenue share, another part of it. You see, I applaud, when I told Malik this, I applaud those student athletes for using their collective voices to advocate for change that's going to benefit not only them, but the athletes that come after them. And some of you, no doubt, are sitting there going, well, if it's so bad, then don't play. And there's validity to that. The system's set up the way it is, and those student athletes can choose not to play. And the reality is, if they choose not to play, there's a kid somewhere just aching to play major college ball that would love to take their spot. And I think that's the leverage that the universities have. And from what Malik said, he said if Stanford's playing, he's going to be on the field. Even with his concerns about COVID and everything else that we discussed. If Stanford's playing, he's going to be on the field. And he estimated somewhere north of 80% would feel the same way he does. I think, honestly, that number is low. I think it'd be more like 95%. Maybe higher. And that's the biggest issue that the We Are United movement is going to have. Only when you're really willing to use your leverage to impose serious consequences on the other side do they then move. Think about the name change for the Washington Redskins. For decades, literally decades, Native American groups have tried to get that franchise to change their name. Only when FedEx, who has a 26-year contract, something like that, a contract with that franchise for the naming rights of their stadium that runs more than 2 decades. Only when FedEx went to their owner and said, hey, change the name or we're out. That thing got done in a hurry, right? They had leverage. They imposed their leverage and got a result. The leverage these players have is not playing. If they collectively said, hey, we want this or we're out, we're not playing. And then you're really screwed. But they're not going to do that. They're not. And I think the Pac-12 leadership and school leadership knows that as well. But that doesn't mean you disregard their concerns. Because the comment on YouTube, I think, is right. 60% of this is all super valid. Like, when you look at what these players are asking for, it's not unrealistic. They're asking for COVID protocols. Okay. Like, we know that young people, especially young, healthy people, largely are not impacted by COVID. That doesn't mean there can't be the situation where someone will be. And if someone's uncomfortable, put them at ease best you can by having protocols in place. And then let them make the decision if they're going to take the risk. It's no different than you deciding if you're going to go to the grocery store. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You can stay home, you can quarantine. But if you go to the grocery store and you know everyone in there has to wear a mask and the workers are wearing masks and there's little stickers on the ground, stand here 6 feet apart, right? And you know that there's protocols in place, it puts you at ease when you go through it. That's what they're asking for. That's not unrealistic. I mean, and here at Guarantee, in our building, we've been limited only to essential on-air personnel. There's sanitizer. Everyone's required to clean every studio when they leave. Every day when I come in, I clean this desk when Hester walks out, Hester and Handy, and I clean it when I walk out. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. They install the motion paper dispensers, so that way it's a contactless experience. Like, there's protocols in place. But if you want to work from home, work from home. That's not unrealistic. Asking for health care coverage 6 years beyond your playing career, I also think that that's super practical. Because I know tons of guys who have played college football that I've covered that never made it to the next level, that put it on the line. I'll give you an example of someone who didn't play at LSU. Jason Swain. Swain's a good friend of ours, man. Guy played at Tennessee. He played hurt his whole career. He had knee, ankle issues, serious stuff that he would just take a shot and go play. And it ruined his NFL future. But he was putting it on the line for his team, for his program, for his school, for his coach, for himself, for his family. And it ruined his NFL opportunity. I was at SEC Media Days a few years ago with Jason Swain. This guy's in his early 30s at the time. And he pulled up his pant leg, and his ankle was swollen like my face. It was unbelievable. But it's just I just deal with this all the time. Got this fluid retention in my ankle, my knee. He's in his 30s. You can't give that guy some help? I think that's super plausible. You know how I feel about NIL, but that's on its way already. Where they're going to lose a lot of people, though, is saying, all right, we think coaches and administrators should take massive reductions in salary. Well, why? You want to be in a free market where you can make as much money as you can on your name, image, and likeness, but those coaches who work 80, 100-hour weeks, 11 months out of the year, they can't maximize their dollar when they're generating millions in revenue for the athletic department, for the university, for the communities over and over again? That's a little hypocritical. The 50-50 rev share is just completely impossible because of Title IX. Title IX mandates, and I'm oversimplifying, but everything you spend on a men's sport, you got to spend on a female sport. So if you want to take 50% of the Pac-12's revenue and give it to football players, well, then you got to take the other 50% and give it to all of the female athletes. And so what's the problem with that? Well, what about basketball? What about every other men's sport? They go away. They cease to exist. Every other sport ceases to exist if you do that, because now you don't have the revenue to fund them. So you can't do that. You don't even have enough revenue to fund your fund the football program because you're giving the revenue to the players. So that's just not practical. But what is name, image, and likeness, which is why I've allocated for it for years. It's impossible in this model to pay 400,000 student athletes. You can't do it. It's not plausible. But can they make money on their name, image, and likeness when, as Malik said, for us, and it's very self-aware of him, so for most of us, this will never be more marketable than we are right now. Him as a senior captain defensive back at Stanford, he may never be more marketable. I hope he goes to the NFL, has a long career, but he may never be more marketable than he is right now as a senior at Stanford, and he can't make $1 off his name. That's a problem. I'm for that. I'm for him being able to do that. So, look, I think this. I applaud them for collectively using their voices. And by doing so, it has started very thoughtful conversations that otherwise might not have been had about things that student athletes would want. Healthcare is plausible. The social justice reform, the thing they asked for was they want the conference to support with 2% to support financial aid for low-income black students, community initiatives, and development of programs for college athletes on campus. There's nothing wrong with allocating 2% to help lower-income students and community initiatives. That's a great thing to do. They want the conference to form a civic engagement task force to address social justice issues. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look at what's breaking up at Iowa right now. You think that's only happening at the University of Iowa? If that could provide a better college experience for these student athletes, and that's where you underscore student. It's a part of your life when you're on a college campus where you grow and learn more about yourself and community and culture and all. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's super plausible. There's a lot of things in here that I think otherwise administrators would have never been forced to look at, that they will now because of this. But in totality, all of it just isn't realistic. And even more so because the student athletes aren't willing to play their trump card, because they're going to play the game regardless. But I applaud them as it moves along. we'll certainly follow it. All right, it's at further review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 2. We still got a ton to get to today. If you missed Will Wade in hour 1, Malik Antoine just a bit ago here, you can catch that on demand at 1045ESPN.com. AFR On Demand is presented by Breck Golf. Y'all, get out and play Beaver Creek if you haven't yet. I have so many people now that say, man, ever since I redid Beaver Creek, it's just gorgeous. If you want to change a pace, I know a lot of people, you might be a country club member somewhere, but if you like to play the municipal courses, get on up to Beaver Creek. It's in Zachary. It's 20 minutes north of downtown Baton Rouge. I remember talking to Mike Raby a couple of years ago when they redid that whole thing. He said, look, our goal was when people, after they play Area 18, they get in their car, they go, man, it was worth the extra 20 minutes. Because from the PGA caliber driving range to the practice greens, the chipping and putting area, to the pavilion out there, to the way that they've redesigned the course, it's gorgeous. It's just so worth your time. Beaver Creek, book your tee time. Golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. We'll knock out our final break here. We'll come back. We'll do Tigers in the pros. And then in hour number 3, we got a ton. We are 45 minutes away from tip-off. Pels, Grizzlies, massive one for New Orleans. I mean, there's no other way to say it. You only got 8 games in the bubble. You screwed up the first one because you mismanaged Zion, and then you just peed down your leg on Saturday against the Clippers. If you want to make a push to get in the playoffs, you got to beat Memphis today. You can't go 0-3 in the bubble with only 5 games to play and create more separation between you and the 9. So we'll talk more about that coming up as well. Drew Brees previewed the season. Mike Thomas did as well via teleconference. You'll hear from both of them. We got a ton we're going to get to still in hour number 3. Stick around. We'll wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. I'm telling you, if you have been listening to me since the start of the season, start of the sort of summer season, I told you to go get a Spartan Mosquito Eradicator. I did it back in May. Beginning of May. Got the Spartan Mosquito Eradicator. You pull the top off. There's granules in there. You fill it with water up to the fill line. You shake it up. You hang it on your property line. You're done with mosquitoes for 3 months. Well, this weekend we were out back, and I got bit by a mosquito. We're not at mosquitoes at all. We're near the end of that 3-month cycle. So I'm getting by Clegg's. I need to go replace my Spartan Mosquito Eradicator. $24. And it's easy to use, and it will knock out mosquitoes 90 days at a time at your property. It's at Clegg's Nursery. All 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Louisiana's largest garden center is Clegg's Nursery. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in. The Clegg's Nursery.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At AllStar Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at AllStar Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at AllStar Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care. it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Hello?
What's up, B? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up! Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We'll get the Tigers and the pros in just a quick second. Found out today, great news for LSU basketball. If you're just jumping in the car, knocking off of work, if you haven't heard yet, today is the last day for underclassmen to make their determination if they're going to stay in the NBA draft or return to school. And LSU went 3 for 3. Darius Days first announced that he was coming back. Javonte Smart, shortly before we came on the air, followed suit. And then just minutes into our first segment of the show, Trendon Watford made his announcement that he, too, is returning. So LSU's roster is set for the 2020-2021 season with Days, Manning, Hyatt, Smart, Watford, O'Neal, LeBlanc, Penn Johnson, the transfers, and Will Wade was with us in hour 1, gave an update on each of those, and they're pretty confident on Penn Johnson and O'Neal. LeBlanc, they said they still have some work to do. And then with the signing class, with Thomas, Wilkinson, Gaines, Cook, and Gray, they're ready to roll. And Nezawairo has reclassified to 2021, so that freed up the spot for Trendon Watford to return as well. So Will Wade told us point blank, this is the best roster he's had in 4 years at LSU. Now it's on him to go maximize it. So if you missed the interview with Will Wade, go catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com. Okay, Brain. Tigers in the pros. Hit it.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at KYSBestHemp.com.
That sounded good.
You think?
And I love, pull up the graphic again, Paul. So Tigers in the Pros is now brought to you by Kentucky's Best Hemp.
Yeah, it is.
And, or you can just go to this, Paul, so I don't want to point to it, if I could. So, go to the wide one, if you would. Sorry. I'm sorry, Paul. I love that it's got the LSU. It's got Mike the Tiger, Tigers in the Pros, and like a big out-of-place green silhouette of the state of Kentucky.
It just works, man. It just flows.
It's very eye-catching. No, keep it, by the way. I'm not saying change it. It's so interesting. This is so LSU. Tigers in the Pros, Kentucky's Best Hemp. But it is worth noting, Kentucky's Best Hemp is operated by former Tiger in the Pros, Lewis Coleman.
Really?
Yeah, it's his company.
It works.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Okay. Love that I'm starting off this segment by saying Darius Days, Javonte Smart, and Trendon Watford will not be in this segment.
Got it.
COVID-19 will not stop Odell Beckham Jr. from playing this season. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Beckham stated he has many concerns about playing the season with everything going on, but did say he has no plans to opt out. Looking for a breakout running back on your fantasy roster this season? The NFL Network's Maurice Jones-Drew was asked for a breakout player for his second season, and since Geis didn't play a snap in his rookie campaign, he's tapping Darius Geis as his breakout guy. Jones-Drew, the former NFL running back, touted Geis' talent and commitment to getting healthy, and said Darius Geis, quote, should have no problem surpassing a 1,000-yard rushing season this year.
Geis is going to year 3.
Correct, but since he didn't play a snap in his first year,
so he said last year was year 1,
right.
This would be year 2. Got
it.
Okay.
He admitted he's I'm kind of cheating on this one a little bit, but
it's his
second year on the field.
By the way, can I
Yeah, you know what? If I had taken that into account, we might have moved on. Hey, Garrett Temple was good for 9 points and 3 boards, and that's 118-110 win over the Wizards last night. And no,
I should have been.
And in the MLB, the inferno that is DJ LeMahieu continues. LeMahieu went 2 for 4 last night, scored twice, and drove another run in as the Yankees topped the Red Sox 9-7. Right now, LeMahieu leads the Yankees in hits and batting average with 12 and 400, respectively.
Hey!
And that's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. They are giving away a free bottle of their CBD oil. Like, no lie. Go to bestfreehemp.com. Not a joke. bestfreehemp.com. They are letting you try it for free. Lewis Coleman's the man. bestfreehemp.com. Brain threw out his back. He tried it today. And he said it worked. More on that later. AFR.
AFR.
Wrapping up hour number 2, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Blue Bond in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com. I went there today, as a matter of fact. Hormone replacement therapy, you've heard me talk about it for years, guys or ladies. No matter how you look, if you want to feel like your younger self, hormone replacement therapy could be the answer. If you struggle sleeping at night, if you wake up and you don't feel energized, even if you're dieting and exercising, you're having trouble leaning out, toning up, burning fat, every single human, as we age, our body produces less of the hormones and contributes to the way we feel. Every single one of us. But it happens at a different rate in every single one of us. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. They also do free testosterone level checks. So get by and see if that's the missing piece of the puzzle for you. And they can safely supplement you to get you back to healthy hormone levels. Online, theantiagingclinics.com.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
104.5 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happytown, USA.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder, Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Count it down to hour 3 of After Further Review. Quick Sports Center update for you. You heard it from Coach Will Wade early in the show. Darius Days, Javonte Smart, and Trendon Watford will be returning to campus. The conversation is available, by the way, between Matt and Coach Wade. It's available on demand on our website. Hey, the St. Louis Cardinals are the latest team to suffer a coronavirus outbreak. 13 members of the organization, 7 players, 6 staff members, and because of that, their games are currently postponed. Well, it looks like when the Saints hit the road to play at the Raiders, they'll be doing so in front of no crowd whatsoever. The Raiders announced today the team will not allow fans to attend games at Allegiant Stadium during the team's inaugural season in Las Vegas. Running down the scoreboard in the NBA, 2 games going on right now. Nuggets and Thunder up 1 on the Nuggets, 51-50 at halftime, and the Pacers are up 60-52 over the Wizards. Hour 3 of AFR coming now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say it one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we get. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And the Brain.
Hey, the Brain got a poop.
We're here. Glad you are as well. The sultry tones of Toby Tomplay with the AFR theme. I dig it. I like having a theme song. What can I say? Sounds good. All right, lot to get into here in hour number 3. Pels, Grizzlies, 28 minutes away from tip. You'll hear from Zion. We'll preview that coming up here shortly. Paul Maneri stopped by OTB earlier today. The LSU baseball season got cut short, so we kind of gave an update on how the summer's been and what to expect from the roster and everything ahead for baseball. Will Wade was with us in hour number 1 if you missed it. LSU went 3 for 3. Days, Smart, Watford, all coming back. Also, Will Wade said that they're very, I think he said extremely, extremely, extremely confident, 3 extremelies, that Brian Penn Johnson, the Washington transfer, will be granted an eligibility waiver, and they're very confident on Sharif O'Neal as well. So, Josh LeBlanc is a guy that they're not as sure about, but either way, LSU's basketball roster, looking very, very good. Of course, the Saints roster looking very good also, as any metric you look at, the Saints are one of the best rosters in the NFL. If it's Pro Football Focus, if it's any other power rankings, if it's the NFL Top 100 and they got 7, if it's just the fact that no team in the NFL has won more games over the last 3 years than New Orleans, you go into the season understanding what the expectations are. And certainly that's the case for Drew Brees and certainly for Mike Thomas as well. A couple of guys who were on teleconferences over the weekend with Saints media as the Saints are beginning conditioning work now for what is coming in a few weeks with actual on-field practice work as they go through this couple-week conditioning ramp-up. And Drew Brees did address the flag controversy, but I'll get to that maybe in a bit. But this is really the first time with the local media anyway that Brees has had a chance to elaborate on the reasons he came back and what the expectations are for the season. And he did talk about, Brain, if you could, his decision to come back for this 15th season in New Orleans.
Listen, it was definitely a decision that I took very seriously, and I gave myself some time from the end of the season, and a lot of thought, a lot of prayer, a lot of conversations with my wife, with others, with mentors. At the end of the day, I chose to come back for my team.
He chose to come back for a team and also to win a Super Bowl because he said that point blank. As a matter of fact, that's what he was asked, probably point blank, about. And remember, Teron Armstead said last week, Super Bowl or bust. Drew Brees said the same.
How important for you is it to get back to the Super Bowl?
That's why I came back.
So he came back for his team, but he also came back to win a Super Bowl. Look, it's no secret. Drew Brees is playing for legacy. He's got the NFL passing touchdowns record. He's got the passing yardage record. He's won a Super Bowl. The only thing he hasn't done is won an MVP. You win a second Super Bowl, and it puts you in even rarer air, and that's what he's going for, and that's what seems to have evaded this team the last 3 years when they have been oh so close. Drew, though, now over 40 years old, how does he feel?
I feel good. I feel good. My body feels good. My arm feels live. Look forward to getting back on the field with the guys and get rolling.
He did elaborate, though, on something that has been a criticism of his game of late, which is the inability to throw the deep ball. Look, when you're over 40 years old, obviously, you're just not going to have as strong of an arm as you did, and checkdowns are going to be a part of your game, the short intermediate stuff. But Brees was asked about working with Tom House this offseason on the deep ball.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on that since March, and we've applied a lot of different techniques and a lot of different training methods. There have been some moments of discovery with us this offseason. You know, really COVID presented a great challenge, obviously, because we couldn't go to our normal places and do our normal things, and so we had to adapt with what we were doing from a training perspective. Most of it happened in my backyard, but we discovered a few things in the process. So it was interesting that the circumstances of COVID created that. But at the end of the day, there were some beneficial things that came from that I'm hoping will pay dividends.
The video of Drew Brees in his yard, like throwing a towel, he's got like a band tied around his waist, pulling him back toward a fence, and he's like flicking a towel. He's doing what he can as of this point. That video obviously all populate up on social media. Now, another video we saw on social media earlier this offseason was Drew Brees working with Emmanuel Sanders out in Colorado. And here's what he talked about getting that work in with his number 2 wide receiver.
I flew out to Denver and spent some time with Emmanuel. So we had a good couple days together. This was back in June. So that was really valuable. So I feel great about him. And obviously he's a savvy veteran player. I think he brings a great element with his skill set as being a great guy with Michael Thomas, and I think as a great veteran presence for that room. That receiver room is still relatively young. Traquan Smith, I think, has a great opportunity this year. And I think we've got some young receivers that I'm really excited to see how they've progressed from last year to this year. Obviously you guys know how we like to move guys around and utilize all these weapons. So I think that'll be great. I was able to get a couple guys to San Diego as well and be able to work with them. So we did our best to navigate the COVID situation, but I was able to get some good work in with guys.
Speaking of Michael Thomas, Thomas said that he does think he can break Marvin Harrison's record again. Harrison's record for most catches in a season stood for 17 years. Thomas became the first player with 150 catches in a season. And he said that's what he does. He feels like he can break it again. There is no doubt that Michael Thomas is going to have another monster season. He had no help in 2019. The Saints never established a viable number 2 option at receiver. I mean, Alvin Kamara was your next leading receiver, and then Jared Cook. It was not a productive year outside of Mike Thomas for receivers. We know that. It's why Emmanuel Sanders was such a priority. But even with every defense keying on Michael Thomas, he still set the NFL record for receptions in a season. So it begs the question, one of two things. One, will the addition of Emmanuel Sanders, you bring in Adam Troutman, you hope you get Cook healthy and flourishing for a full season. Maybe that takes some pressure off of Traquan and he can emerge. Maybe one of the undrafted guys emerges this year. It's Marquez Callaway or Lil Jordan Humphrey. Maybe. We'll see. But ultimately, you feel like there's, if nothing else, at least one more guy with Emmanuel Sanders. So that should alleviate the pressure off Mike Thomas. So it goes one of two ways. Does Thomas get fewer targets because you can spread the ball around with other options? Or does Thomas get more man coverage because other guys are going to have to be accounted for? It's a pick your poison type deal. But for me, the biggest question with Mike Thomas is not this year. The biggest question with Mike Thomas is going to be, what happens when Drew isn't here anymore? Because even the greatest receivers of all time are still in some respect dependent on who is throwing them the ball. And the one that always immediately comes to the forefront of my mind is Randy Moss. Because I have this image in my head, like emblazoned into the forefront of my mind, of Randy Moss in a Raiders uniform, slouched on the bench, completely disinterested. And you know why Randy Moss was slouched on the bench, completely disinterested when he was a Raider? Because he was catching passes from Andrew Walter and Aaron Brooks. For the first 6 years of his career, when Dante Culpepper was throwing him the ball and he had Chris Carter out there as well, Moss had 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons to begin his career. In his 7th year in Minnesota would have been a 1,000-yard season as well, but he only played 13 games that year. And then he went to Oakland. In his first year in Oakland, he caught 60 balls for 1,005 yards. And then his second year in Oakland, 42 catches for 553 on a team that was 2-14. And again, Andrew Walter and Aaron Brooks. I'm not going to say it's going to get that bad for New Orleans, but my point is, even arguably the most dominant receiver of this era, or any era, in Randy Moss, saw his production whittled away. Look at Odell in Cleveland last year. The offense you're in and who's throwing you the ball matters. So, and by the way, the year after Randy Moss had that 42 catch season, he went to New England in 2007, and that worked out okay. 98 catches for 1,493 and 23 touchdowns. Worked out okay with Tom Brady throwing him the ball. My big question for Mike Thomas isn't this year. Mike Thomas is going to he'll catch another 100 balls. He'll have 1,000 yards easy. He'll catch double-digit touchdowns again. What happens when Drew's done? That's my big long-term question for Mike Thomas. We ain't going to get that answer this year. But hopefully the two of them in tandem continue to produce elite numbers. You add Emmanuel Sanders to it. You get a first-class offensive year again. You've supplemented defensively. See if this is the one. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break. If you want to join us, you can. You can tweet the show at Matt Moscona at 1045 ESPN. You can jump in the Bayou Ford Huddle. The YouTube chat is there as well. Just go to the 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. You can jump in the chat right there if you want to weigh in on all of our conversations. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Pels, 17 minutes from tip. We'll talk about it next. AFR.
AFR.
You know, your Home Central AC never gets a break. 24/7, 365 from the day it's installed at your house. That box sits outside in the elements. Never gets to get covered. Never gets to come out of the rain or the snow. And it snows occasionally. Dirt and dander and dust and pollen and bugs and maybe armadillos, possums, nutria could all be climbing up in there. And have you cleaned it lately? That's the thing you're counting on to keep your family and your home comfortable and air conditioned. Clean it, tune it up, keep it running efficiently. You want to make sure it runs for as long as it possibly can? Make sure you perform the seasonal maintenance. River City's 1 Hour Air can do that for just $97. 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
This is big. Really big. I mean, really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's number.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Anytime you get your butt kicked, it's always a little disheartening in the locker room afterwards. But we're an optimistic group. We still feel like we can win the rest of the games. Tonight's huge, obviously, and we have to take care of business tonight.
Pelicans guard J.J. Redick, stating the obvious, got their butts kicked against the Clippers. 12 minutes from tip, it is the Pels and the Grizz. If you're in New Orleans, you can listen on our sister station, our affiliate New Orleans, 100.3 ESPN New Orleans. I still think this is really cool. Daniel Sallerson tweeted this, the radio crew ready to go from the Smoothie King Center, and it's from the broadcast booth, and they've lowered the Jumbotron of the Smoothie King Center down to the floor, and Graf and John DeShazer are up in their booth, but they're just basically watching the game on the Jumbotron, calling it, because they're not in the bubble. And then Joel Myers and Antonio Daniels, they're courtside at their position at the table, and they've got big monitors in front of them to watch, and that they can watch the giant Jumbotron as well. It's such a, this is one of those moments in time that 10, 20, 50, 100 years from now we'll talk about, well, not you and me, but that people will talk about 100 years from now. Calling games off jumbotrons and whatnot, the NBA being in a bubble. It's bizarre. But it doesn't change the reality for the Pelicans, which is that the NBA essentially created this format for the Pelicans. They created this format for Zion, to have him in the bubble. Like, the easiest thing for the NBA to do would have been to just start the playoffs. Get everybody down in Orlando, top 8 on each side, 16 teams, roll with the playoffs. But they didn't do that. Why? Because New Orleans was tantalizingly close, and the idea of getting Zion in the bubble and into the playoffs is something that the NBA absolutely wanted. So they came up with this cockamamie thing where you'd play 8 games, and then, oh, by the way, if you get through those 8 games, then the 8 and the 9 will play a 2-game play-in. Come on. They are actively trying to get the Pelicans into the playoffs. They want the Pelicans and Zion in, which is why it's even more frustrating that you had a chance to beat Utah last week, and because you have a stupid minute or burst restriction on Zion, he's not even on the damn floor in a game-ending situation against Utah. And then you go out against the Clippers and you just pee down your leg. The largest halftime deficit in franchise history? You have 77 points? I lost count. It was 77 points in the first half. Somebody was absurd. And look, Zion even said it. Zion's frustrated about his minute restriction right now.
Nah, because if I get frustrated, that doesn't help the situation none. So, I try to look at it from different perspectives, as in, like, while I'm out there, like, what can I do to contribute?
He's frustrated with the minute restriction. Looks bored and disinterested when he's sitting on the bench. Maybe annoyed. Maybe that's just me trying to live through Zion and make him frustrated. They got to win this one today. There just isn't any margin right now for New Orleans. I mean, you've got 6 to play. I mean, you look at the East, it's like you've got such a massive gap after Brooklyn. I mean, the Wizards are 7.5 back from Brooklyn. There was no reason at all to do this whole 8-game play, whatever. The East was set. They only did this for a chance to get Zion in. But if you look right now, you're 2.5 back from Memphis. You're tied with Portland and Sacramento, and you're a half game back of San Antonio. All is not lost. You've still got 6 to go, and you have the easiest schedule percentage-wise in the bubble. You're a 4-point favorite tonight over the Grizzlies. So, man, go out there tonight and win this game. Get that first one under your belt and get feeling good, because after this, with Memphis, you've got Sacramento, which is a winnable game. And again, that's a team you're tied with right now. You've got Washington from the East, which is certainly a winnable game. Then you follow it up with San Antonio and Sacramento. Again, 2 teams you're tied with right now. And then you finish up with Orlando. Every game left on the schedule, you're likely favored. So while it's frustrating, while Saturday was embarrassing, all is not lost. It's far from gone, because you're going to be favored in every game remaining on this schedule, including tonight as a 4-point favorite over Memphis. So go get this done. Get that good feeling in your belly. Increase Zion's minutes. Start feeling better about it, so when you're back on the floor Thursday against Sacramento, you feel good about yourself and you go whitewash that team and start moving toward what is going to be a 2-game series with Memphis for the play-in. And it's a team you're better than. Start taking care of it tonight. All right, it's after further review. If you want to join us, you can email Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet the show at Matt Moscona at 1045ESPN. You can jump in the Bayou Ford Huddle. We've got our YouTube chat open as well. If you want to go to the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, we're right there. We're brought to you by our friends at Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, 288-8138, and reliefwindows.com. It's windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Brain, how's your back? Any better?
Much, yes.
Okay, good.
Very much better than it was about an hour before the show.
I walked into the studio downstairs before we were about to come up, and I was telling Brain the guest because he tweets out the show tweet with all the guests on it, and he was looking at me like he was looking through me. And you said you threw your back out. How'd you throw your back out?
Not real sure. I woke up Sunday morning, and it was just shot.
Do you need a new mattress? Maybe
No,
so.
I actually just got a great new mattress.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, it's pretty great.
I mean, if you wake up with a sore back.
Probably threw my back out in the pool, throwing my 4-year-old around the night before.
Oh, that'll do it. See, I did that Easter. It was Easter. The day before Easter, I was at the pool, throwing my nieces and nephews. The next day, I went to go pick up Drew, and gone.
Yeah.
Happens to me a couple times a year. Anyway, so Brain was looking right through me, and I was like, hey, I got a shipment of Kentucky's Best Hemp in from Lewis Coleman. They're now sponsoring Tigers in the Pros. So he sent us a bunch of product. Gummies and oil and salve and all the different stuff. So I've not tried the oil before. So the oil, you just get a dropper and put it under your tongue?
Yeah.
What did it taste like?
There was little to no taste. And I've had CBD oil before where it's like very potent with that hemp taste or whatever.
Yeah.
No, this was...
was it Kentucky's Best Hemp?
It was the ones I've had before?
Yes.
No. This one, very unimposing, very easy to take.
That's good. And then you also got the salve.
Yeah.
And you put that on your back?
Yes, I did.
And how did it go?
So far, so good. I feel a ton better than I did before the show started.
Okay, good. I'm glad. They're giving away a bottle of their Lewis told me they're going to give away 10,000 bottles of their CBD oil for people to try. They're going to just give it away. Like literally, you can have there isn't a catch. It's just one of those things where they know a lot of people need to try it. So anyway, bestfreehemp.com. Bestfreehemp.com is where you can go to claim your free bottle. Bestfreehemp.com. Just type in bestfreehemp.com and you get a free bottle of Kentucky's Best Hemp CBD oil. So, Paul, can you pull that up? Bestfreehemp.com. You can get a free bottle of the natural or the cinnamon, and you can learn more about CBD oil. If you have inflammation or if you have trouble sleeping at night or anxiety, you can learn more about Kentucky's Best Hemp. You can try it for free, bestfreehemp.com, bestfreehemp.com for Kentucky's Best Hemp. That's former LSU pitcher Lewis Coleman. He when he finished playing, his wife is from Kentucky. He moved with her to her hometown, and their family is in this business, so he's a big part of that. So we're glad to be partnered with them as well. So bestfreehemp.com to get a free bottle, like really free. It's crazy. It's like really free.
And it takes no time to work. I feel amazing.
I can't believe they're just but he's legit. He's like, we're going to give away 10,000 bottles. Like, huh? They're going to give away 10,000 bottles of hemp. You know, it'd be really cool.
What?
If like our audience went to that website and like crashed it and they were rid of all of it by like tomorrow. What do you think?
I think everyone would get a good night's sleep for one thing.
No doubt. They do have gummies as well, and they have like the ones that are THC free, and then they've got the gummies that are like the full whatever you call it, where it has the trace amounts of THC, which the legal amounts. But anyway, what would we have to do? I need to think of a way to do this to where everybody would just like crash their website in one day, and we get rid of all 10,000 bottles.
I mean, do you think that's what Lewis would want right now?
Yes.
Okay.
It works, right? Advertising works.
Well, yeah.
I'm not even asking you to buy anything. Like, I'm literally just asking you to go to a website and get a free bottle of CBD oil. Just go to bestfreehemp.com and like let them deliver you a free bottle of CBD oil. Bestfreehemp.com. Tell all your friends. Let's crash Lewis Coleman's website. Bestfreehemp.com. Crash the website. Bestfreehemp.com. All right, it's after further review. Got an update on the NFL's reserve COVID list as well as the opt-outs. Want to talk about that when we come back. Also, Paul Maneri was on Off the Bench and updated the offseason for the LSU baseball team. So what a day. Like, we said at the beginning of the day, I was like a kid in a candy store. I mean, we had news about Jamal Pettigrew, who's entered the transfer portal. Peter Parrish has officially entered the transfer portal. 3 LSU basketball players have withdrawn from the draft. They're coming back to school. The Saints are officially going through workouts. The Pels are a minute away from tip right now. Just a massive, massive news day, and it's so fun to have sports back and to be talking about it. So that and bestfreehemp.com as we're giving away CBD oil. It's after further review. Stay here.
AFR.
So, yes, we are giving away CBD oil, but we're also saving you money. Like, just for listening to the show, think of all this great stuff you get. Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're online at lainsurance.net. I love sharing testimonials. AFR listener named Daniel. Daniel and his wife had been with Liberty Mutual for 13 years. Always a dead giveaway. If you're with your insurance provider for that long, chances are you're overpaying. Just because you've had rate increases over that time, and there are other companies that can do better. Anyway, so Daniel and his wife, AFR listeners, have been with Liberty Mutual for 13 years. Had good coverage. They had just seen rate increases. They were able to get the same coverage with an A-rated carrier and save $2,155 annually. My goodness, what could you do with an extra $2,100 annually in your pocket? A little vacation, maybe? Pay down your mortgage? Well, like an extra $2,155 for doing nothing else other than calling Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450. 293-0450.
At AllStar Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at AllStar Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at AllStar Toyota today.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hello?
What's up, E? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up?
Roof's up! Roof's up! Roof's up!
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wait and tip in the bubble between the Pels and the Grizz. Big one for New Orleans. They can get back on track after losing their first 2 games there in the bubble. We'll keep you posted when they get underway. Still got the warm-ups on, so not quite set. But you have the top couple of picks in the draft with Zion and John Morant going head-to-head. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Monday edition brought to you by Relief Windows. Paul Maneri stopped by off the bench earlier today, and we've talked so much about this offseason as so many sports are getting back rolling again with, of course, the NBA, Major League Baseball is back. The NFL is starting their offseason workouts as we now know what the ramp up to the season will look like. We've obviously been following college football very closely, but one of the sports that obviously was canceled as well was college baseball. I mean, they had barely begun conference play, and I mean LSU. We know the story. They were pulled off the bus literally from the start of the season, from their trip to Oxford, where they were set to play Ole Miss, and then everything was canceled subsequent. But man, there was so much expectation around this LSU baseball team. Paul Maneri joined off the bench earlier today and talked a little bit about the schedule. So right now, the players are at home in quarantine for a week. Then they'll come to campus, and they'll quarantine on campus for a week. So it'll be a 2-week quarantine period. Subsequent to that, they'll have a 2-week workout period with Travis Roy, the LSU baseball strength and conditioning coordinator. And then they'll have a 2-week voluntary workout period. Now, they'll have to schedule those workouts, obviously, because they'll be limited in number, whatever. But the facilities will be open. They can go hit, et cetera. So that's what the next 6 weeks are going to look like. 2 weeks of quarantine, 2 weeks of workouts, 2 weeks of then on-field work before they can start working out with the coaches into when you get into September. And at that point, they'll begin scrimmaging with fall ball as you'd anticipate. And something Maneri was pretty open about is, you know, he wants to make sure that they get a lot of work in and get the pitchers a lot of work as well, because so many of them just didn't have those stressful innings that you normally have during a season because they didn't pitch during the spring, and some guys didn't even get a chance to go out and throw during the summer. But in spite of the COVID shutdowns around the country, a lot of guys had the opportunity to go play in different leagues around the country. So a lot of these leagues happened even with the COVID-19 shutdown, surprisingly enough, which begs the question, why are some leagues testing and others not, and some leagues happening and others not, and I digress. But that's another issue for probably another show. Here was Paul Maneri giving a quick recap. He kind of went rapid fire through a bunch of the players that played this summer and how they did.
Cade Doty, I think, led the South Florida Collegiate League in hitting a hit 429. Cade Beloso hit 420. Collier Cranford, unfortunately, pulled a hamstring after about 4 or 5 games. I think he only had about 12 at-bats, but was doing well. Zach Arnold, who missed the entire season, had a really good summer down there, played extremely well. Giovanni was doing pretty well until he slid into second base and broke a finger.
But a lot of guys got out there to play, including Dylan Cruz, who was really the crown jewel of this signing class that everyone expected to sign, but ultimately ended up on campus. Here's Maneri.
The thing that really was most encouraging for me was Dylan Cruz played in a collegiate league down in his area in Orlando. Got off to a really slow start, but the last 10 games, my goodness, he was hot as a firecracker. He probably hit 500 and hit 2 home runs and a couple of doubles. And if I showed you the videos of those swings, you'd get pretty excited.
Dylan Cruz is very likely a day one starter in the outfield. He's going to have a great chance to replace Daniel Cabrera. How the full outfield looks, I don't know. DiGiacomo's got to be in there. I mean, we saw Drew Bianco starting in left last year before things were shut down. And you always could have the possibility of Maurice Hampton coming over from football and winning a starting job as well in the outfield. But one thing seemed for certain is that Dylan Cruz is going to have a chance to be a day one, like game one starter in the outfield. And you could tell, just listening to Paul Maneri, he's really excited about Cruz.
Obviously, Dylan Cruz, was a real headliner for us to be able for when he pulled himself out of the draft, and then he got off to a real slow start this summer. And I was like, well, man, I hope he's going to get through this, But I'm telling you, the last 10 games, if you'd have seen him play, you'd say this guy should have gone in the first round. He just looks the part. He's the athlete. He can hit them a long way. He can run. He can do a lot of good things.
So Dylan Cruz did get a chance to play this offseason, this summer down in Orlando, and he'll be with the team coming up here in the next couple of weeks after the quarantine. Paul Mainieri also talked about his pitching staff, which, of course, Cole Henry was drafted and signed with the Nationals. But aside from that, you got pretty much everybody back, and that's a reason that Paul Mainieri is excited about this staff.
I'm anxious to see all the arms, the pitchers that we brought in. We brought in a lot of them, 11 new ones. One of them is a two-way player, and Brody Drost. He's an outfielder and a left-handed pitcher. But we didn't anticipate holding on to all of them, but we did, and we got some quality arms here to complement the guys that we do have coming back. So it's got a chance to be a pretty elite pitching staff like it was last year. Obviously, we lost Cole Henry off that staff, but having Jaden Hill back and Marceau and Labus, that's going to be a pretty good rotation. And then when you complement it with the bullpen like Fontenot and Beck and Kaminer and George, those guys, Mikhail Hilliard had a good game the other day pitching for the Acadiana King Cutters. And then you add to it all those arms we got coming in. I'm excited about the pitching staff that Alan Dunn has to work with. Speaking of Jaden Hill, Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball today put out their top 150 prospect list at D1 Baseball. Kumar Rocker from Vandy is 1. Jack Leiter from Vandy is 2. And followed up number 3 right there is Jaden Hill, the third best prospect in college baseball. Judd Fabian from Florida 4, and then Matt McClain from UCLA 5. But your top 5 players in college baseball this year, the top 4 all from the SEC, 2 Vandy pitchers, and then Jaden Hill number 3. You could tell the expectation is Jaden Hill is going to be a stud, a frontline Friday night guy. That is just going to be a hell of an out. So looking forward to baseball. Obviously. Oh, one more. Mainieri also talked about Nick Storrs. Of course, Nick Storrs, who has had his struggles going through the baseball. He just had arm issues. He had surgeries. He was just on the shelf. He finally got out there to pitch this year, and it was just a slow process getting him back up to speed, and then the season shut down. And then Storrs hops over to football to play tight end for Ed Ogeron. Now, Mainieri was clear that Storrs is going to come back and play baseball this spring, but he talked about that process of how that conversation went with Nick Storrs for him to go play football. He called me this summer, and he just said, Coach, what do you think about playing football? And I was so excited, and I think I caught him by surprise because I told him, I said, Nick, you only get to go through this one time in your life. I don't think you should have any regrets with your life. Go for all the gusto you can. If you want to play football and Coach Orgeron wants you to play football, I think you should do it. So he was really excited that I gave him that level of support, and I really meant it. I want the kid to have a great experience here because he's a phenomenal human being. If you want to hear the whole conversation, Paul Mainieri on Off the Bench, you can go to the Off the Bench on demand page at 1045ESPN.com, and you can see it right there. It's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. We got one thing left to do. We'll do a little game time with Jimmy out, some Otter Locks coming up. We expect to tip at 5:30 with Pels Grizz. I guess that's just when the coverage started there in Orlando. It's 5:42. They've yet to tip still, but when they do, we'll let you know how it goes. Of course, you can watch that on ESPN, or you can listen to it on our New Orleans affiliate, 100.3 ESPN New Orleans. It's after further review. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back. We'll do some Otter Locks with Jimmy Ott when we come back next to wrap it up with Otter Locks and what we learned. Stay here.
AFR.
So I got a text on Saturday from the Riot, Ryan Terrio. Yes, I just called him the Riot. And he just used the fire emoji because that's basically all he ever texts. And he had a picture of himself outside of Carriage's holding 2 bags. Got some shoes, got some jeans. All 50% off. Because right now at Carriage's, it's an amazing time to go save with their summer sale. Sport coats, 25% off. Actually, now to look at it, today's Monday. Today's the last day of the sale. You better hurry over to Carriage's before they close. 25% off sport coats right now. That ends today. Carriage's in Bocage. Voted by you the best men's clothier with the best selection you'll find anywhere and amazing deals. The Buy More, Save More event ends today at Carriage's in Bocage. So you want to save 50% on shoes, 25% on sport coats? Get on by and see our friends at Carriage's in Bocage. Tell them Matt sent you in. Carriage's in Bocage.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
104.5 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 104.5 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
At AllStar Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at AllStar Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, do me a favor. If you go to Lewis Coleman's website, bestfreehemp.com, the company's Kentucky's Best Hemp. But they have a special website link to get your free bottle of their CBD oil. Bestfreehemp.com, bestfreehemp.com. Go there, place your, and then tweet Lewis Coleman at Lewis Coleman 31 and let him know that we're trying to crash his website today. That's our goal. So that's our goal today, is that we want to crash Lewis Coleman's website. That we want to crash the website. Go get your CBD oil for free. They're giving away 10,000 bottles of it, and I want our audience to take all of it, and I want them to do it. I want you to do it all today. So bestfreehemp.com, bestfreehemp.com, bestfreehemp.com. Like, it's for really, real free. Like, they want people to try it, so they're giving away 10,000 bottles. There is no catch. Just go to bestfreehemp.com, do it today, and let's crash Lewis Coleman's website. That would be really fun. Jimmy Ott joins us for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
Otter!
Wide awake.
You need to go to bestfreehemp.com and get some free CBD oil from Lewis Coleman.
Already on it, Matthew.
Get it.
No problem, we got it.
Pels are up 4-2 early on Memphis. They going to hang on?
Oh, man, this is a fishy line. What have the Pelicans shown in our first two games? Memphis is two close games. They need to get back on track. 5 in this little suspicious of the point spread in this one. The Pelicans -5 just underway. How about those rocking chair winners on Friday? Padres down to their last out in Coors Field.
Wait, real quick. You know why the line's 5?
Why?
Because the Pels are in their red unis and they look freaking fire. I think that's the best uniform in the NBA, and ain't nobody beating them when they're wearing that smoke. You kidding me? If I knew they were wearing red, I'd have laid my mortgage on this thing.
All right, back to Friday.
Look good, play good, Otter. Something you don't know nothing about.
Southeast Junior with 1 out. With 2 outs in the ninth, ties it up. Three more runs. Padres pull it out. How about the Braves down 7 runs late? They come back to win 11-10.
Wow.
A couple of little easy, smooth sailing victories on Friday. And how about the Rockets, who were down 8 with 47 seconds to go? They win it in overtime against the Mavericks on Friday night. So tonight, Matthew, and we can watch these as you stop by for a $5 old fashioned on your way home. Right on your way. Love seeing you each and every evening on your way home. Carlos Rodon, his first appearance since his Tommy John surgery last time, gave up a few runs in the first inning, but after that first inning, where he threw things around the dugout, he settled down and was really effective against a good hitting Indians club. It's a pick-em at Milwaukee, actually coming back a little bit funny. The White Sox and Rodon against the Brewers and Anderson. And tonight, great pitching matchup in a pitching-friendly park. Paddock for the Padres against Buehler for the Dodgers. The betting public is pounding them every night. They're winning every night. They swept the D-backs in Phoenix this weekend. It's $1.42 on the road. That's way too high. Way too high. Give me Chris Paddock coming back good money at home against the Dodgers tonight. So, Padres, White Sox are your picks tonight.
All right, Padres and White Sox. Cash your tickets, everybody. What do y'all have on the show tonight, Otter?
Well, Playboy Marty's NBA releases tonight, too. He's got Grizzlies +5. It's already started. But he also likes San Antonio, who's 2-0 since the restart. He likes them +7 against the Sixers, another strange line. So, got tons of things to recap, man. We look forward to our first PGA. We'll break down some of the odds there, give you some crazy covers and some bad beats. A lot to cover to recap from this gambling weekend. It was active.
All right, Otter, have a great show, man. I'll see you in a few minutes for an old-fashioned.
Always. I can't believe that the family just hasn't caught on yet to how chill you are when you come home after you won old fashioned each and every night. But they're loving you. They're loving you, Pat.
I just kick my shoes off, demand food. It's good way to spend the night. All right, Otter, have a great show, man. We'll see you. Get out of my show.
Does he just keep saying that until I turn him off?
Liverpool. All right, it's after further review. We'll do what we learned here in just a quick second. We're brought to you by Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, shawbillstire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. You want a career instead of just a job? Shawbill's, they got you covered. By the way, they're opening up 2 new locations at the end of 2020 and beginning of 2021 in the greater Baton Rouge area. But they're hiring for all jobs at all locations. Paid holidays, health insurance, and employer participation in the premium payments, dental and vision insurance. They do supplemental insurance. They got a tool purchase program. You get paid time off, 401k. You kidding me? Shawbills. You want a career instead of a job? Shawbills. They're hiring. Shawbillstire.com. Shawbills. We keep you rolling. Zion, killer putback already in this game. Playboy Marty's going down. He said take the Grizz and the 5. Pels are going to crush him tonight. You like the Reds, Brain?
I do. A great deal. Although, is Zion out of minutes already?
About halfway.
Okay.
Yep. So basically he's done. Yeah. Paul, what did you learn on the show today?
I learned LSU basketball's roster is going to be amazing.
Yeah, you know what else? Like, in a very literal sense, we did learn Will Wade, who is our bud, came on the show and told us that they are, he all but said they're going to get the waiver for Brian Penn Johnson, the Washington transfer. And he used the word extremely 3 times. Extremely hopeful. Confident. And then they're expecting Sharif O'Neal's waiver to go through as well. So Looks like the Pels are, in fact, going to get their transfers in place and have a loaded roster. Josh LeBlanc is the one they're waiting on. So, Brandon, what'd you learn?
I learned that Randy Macho Man Savage is dead.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
So we planned a bit. Sometimes I'll tell Brain, I'll shoot him a link or something to be like, hey, Brain, do what you do with this. And we had the story about The Rock buying the XFL. And so what was your joke?
I was the other guys that were in on the deal, and I was like, there were no other former wrestlers, no Hulk Hogan, no Ric Flair, and Randy Macho Man Savage was almost in, but he wanted Slim Jims at all the concession stands.
And then I had to remind you that the Macho Man is deceased.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Matt, what did you learn today?
Well, after you mentioned the Macho Man, I mentioned Dusty Rhodes.
Yep.
And I learned that the American Dream is no longer with us either. He's been dead a good 5 years. I learned that if you're ever going to mention a 1980s wrestler, make sure he's not dead.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEYE.com. WilliamsonEYE.com, 924-2020 is where you can get Dr. Blake Williamson and the team over at Williamson Eye Center. Get on by for your free LASIK consultation. Give yourself or someone you love the gift of sight. And you might say, Matt, I had RK years ago. So did my dad. My dad had RK years ago. There's a lens replacement that Williamson does that is, they're the only vision center in our area that offers this. We're the first in Louisiana for people who maybe previously had RK or something like that aren't a candidate for LASIK, but this is a refractive option. So I tell you all the time, no matter how old you are, no matter what your refractive issue is, if you want to live your life without contacts or glasses, the Williamson Eye Center has a way. Learn more, 924-2020 or WilliamsonEYE.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.